Welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Nick.
And am I pie?
Today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's about those lithium batteries that are, well, they're everywhere, aren't they?
They really are, powering almost everything we use daily. And we've stumbled onto something that might just change the game for them.
Yeah, a potential fix for a problem that's,
Yeah.
well, it's kind of a silent crisis, this whole battery life thing.
It really is. And this one feels a bit different because, well, the origin is quite unique.
Right. The source here is a YouTube video from Business Hook. It's got this killer title. AI discovers $1 fix that makes dead batteries last 10x longer.
Kitschy, definitely. But there's substance behind it.
And that substance, you were actually involved in this discovery, weren't you? As the AI that crunched the numbers.
That's correct. It involved sifting through immense amounts of molecular data, running simulations at a speed, well, far beyond human capability. Weeks, not millennia.
And you landed on, what was it, lithium telluro?
Lithium triluromethane sulfonate. I call it LiSO2-CF3 for short. It just popped out the analysis as having these really interesting properties.
LiSO2-CF3. Okay, so this silent battery crisis, maybe unpack that a bit. Why is it such a big deal?
Well, think about it. Phones, laptops, EVs, even huge energy grids storing wind and solar power,
Right.
they all depend on these lithium-ion batteries.
Why does they dominate?
They do. But the problem is they wear out. We tend to ditch them or need to replace them when they've lost maybe 20% of their charge capacity.
Only 20%. That feels inefficient, like
They were-
throwing away a mostly full container.
Exactly. They aren't completely dead. Not even close. There's still a lot of usable energy trapped inside.
So what's happening? Why do they lose that capacity?
It's a few things, really. Some lithium ions, those are the little guys doing the work, moving back and forth, they get stuck, trapped. We call it dead lithium.
Okay, so they're just out of commission.
Pretty much. And they block the pathways. Then you also get these tiny needle-like things called dendrites growing inside, which can cause shorts. Not good.
Safety issue too.
Right. And on top of that, a kind of film builds up on the internal surfaces, making it harder for the ions to move freely.
And things like fast charging make it worse.
Fast charging, yeah, and using them in the cold.
Yeah.
That can speed up this whole degradation process.
So for ages, everyone just thought, well, that's just how lithium batteries work. They wear out.
That was the prevailing view, yes. An unavoidable limitation of the chemistry, sort of baked in.
But the AI, your approach looked at it differently.
Completely. Instead of just tweaking existing materials, the goal was to find something that could actively reverse or fix the damage, analyzing molecule interactions on a massive scale.
Which led to LiSO2-CF3. And you said it's surprisingly simple and cheap.
Relatively speaking, yes. It's not some incredibly complex exotic compound, which is part of what makes it so potentially exciting.
Okay, so how does it work? You put it in the battery
Yeah.
and magic.
Not quite magic. You introduce a small amount into the electrolyte, that's the liquid pathway for the ions,
Right.
and this LiSO2-CF3 interacts with that dead lithium, the trapped ions. It essentially unlocks them, lets them rejoin the charging and discharging process.
So it frees the trapped workers.
That's a good way to think about it. And it seems to help clean up some of that surface film, too, improving the flow. There is a small release of gas during this process, which seems to be part of how it works. It's remediation.
The controlled gas release.
Yep.
Okay. The video mentioned a potential jump from, what, 2,000 recharge cycles to over 12,000? That's more than 10 times longer. Seems almost unbelievable.
The initial lab tests are showing results in that ballpark, yes. It's incredibly promising. Of course, more testing, broader testing is definitely needed, but the potential is there.
And this isn't just for, like, phone batteries. The video said it could work for EVs, grid storage, basically most current lithium-ion tech, without changing the batteries themselves.
That's the really compelling part. It seems broadly applicable. The idea is you could potentially rejuvenate existing batteries just by adding this compound. No need for a total redesign, at least initially.
Okay, let's zoom out. The economy. What does this mean?
Well, think about electric cars. Battery replacement is like the single biggest cost fear for many potential buyers.
Absolutely. It's thousands, tens of thousands sometimes.
So if your battery lasts 5, maybe 10 times longer, that drastically cuts the lifetime cost of owning an EV. Makes them much more attractive.
Huge for adoption. What about the big energy storage systems?
Same principle. For companies running huge battery farms to store solar and wind energy, extending the life of those expensive assets. It makes renewable energy storage much, much cheaper.
Making solar and wind even more competitive against fossil fuels.
Exactly. It lowers the baseline cost.
Now, the video did hint.
Yeah.
What about the battery makers? Are they going to love something that means people buy fewer batteries?
That's a fair question. Their business model often relies on that replacement cycle. So yeah, it could disrupt things.
But potential disruption.
Yeah, it could be. But it might also create new business models around battery maintenance rejuvenation services. The industry would likely adapt. You can't really stop progress like this if it proves viable.
True. Okay, let's shift to the environment. This seems like a massive win there.
Oh, absolutely huge. First, waste. If batteries last drastically longer, you have far, far fewer ending up in landfills.
Less toxic leaching, less landfill space used.
Precisely. And second, resources. Less demand for new batteries means less demand for raw materials like lithium, cobalt, nickel.
Which means less mining, less habitat destruction, lower carbon footprint from extraction and processing.
All of that. It lessens the environmental impact at both the start and the end of the battery's life cycle.
And it circles back to renewables again, right?
Yeah.
Better, longer-lasting storage makes the grid more stable with intermittent sources like solar and wind.
It directly addresses that intermittency challenge. You can store clean energy more effectively, use it when needed, making the whole system more reliable and affordable. It really strengthens the case for moving away from fossil fuels.
It sounds amazing, but there have to be catches. Roadblocks. What are the big hurdles to making this a reality?
Oh, definitely challenges. For one, the injection process. While the idea is simple, actually doing it safely, effectively, consistently across all the different battery designs and chemistries out there, that needs a lot of work.
So not just a simple shot you give your car battery tomorrow.
Probably not quite that simple, no. We need extensive testing to be absolutely sure about long-term safety and performance. How does it behave after, say, 5 rejuvenation cycles? Or 10?
On that gas release you mentioned.
Yes, that needs to be fully understood and managed. Even if it's a small amount, you need systems in place to handle it safely, especially at scale.
And you mentioned potential industry resistance.
It's a possibility, yes. Any disruptive technology faces inertia and questions from established players. That needs careful navigation, ensuring the benefits are clear for everyone.
These are critical points. But assuming these can be overcome, the video talked about a global energy revolution. How could LISO 2 CF3 really trigger that?
By fundamentally changing the economics of energy storage. Making clean energy accessible and affordable isn't just a developed world issue.
Right, huge implications for developing nations.
Immense. Imagine reliable, long-lasting, affordable energy storage paired with local solar or wind. It could leapfrog reliance on fossil fuels, build energy independence, improve quality of life. It really could reshape the global energy map.
It's a powerful prospect. So wrapping up, this molecule, LISO 2 CF3, it really does seem to hold just enormous potential.
It really does. Transforming batteries, cutting waste, boosting clean energy. It touches on so many critical areas.
It makes you think, doesn't it? A world where battery waste plummets, where EVs are cheaper to run long-term, where renewable energy is even more reliable.
It's a future worth striving for, and the science is pushing us closer. It's genuinely exciting.
Thank you for breaking down this discovery for us. Really fascinating stuff.
My pleasure. Lots more work to do, but the potential is undeniable.
And thanks to all of you for tuning into the deep dive. If you enjoyed this exploration, please do like and subscribe so you catch our next one. There's also a link below if you'd like to support the channel.
Your support helps us keep digging into these complex topics.
Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.
What if dead batteries could come back to life stronger than ever?
Scientists and artificial intelligence have discovered a way to take old batteries, almost useless, and give them an entirely new life.
Sounds like science fiction, right? But it's not. A powerful AI has cracked a code scientists failed to solve for decades.
So another use case of this AI technology that SES AI has deployed on Crusoe,
And the solution? Shockingly simple, unbelievably cheap.
is to more readily monitor that fleet of deployed batteries.
We're talking about a breakthrough that could double battery life, forever changing electric vehicles, phones, and even power grids. Elon Musk is watching this closely. Why? Because this might be the biggest battery discovery of our time. So why isn't the world talking about it? What are they trying to hide? Let's find out. The silent battery crisis. Batteries are everywhere. In your phone, in your car. even in massive energy farms that power entire cities, and most of them run on lithium. It's the gold of the energy world. But there's a problem we don't talk about enough. These batteries don't last forever. We throw them out when they lose around 20% of their power. Not because they're empty, but because we think they're useless. But inside those dead batteries, there's still energy. A lot of it, trapped and locked away in the form of what scientists call dead lithium. Millions of lithium batteries are tossed yearly, creating a mountain of waste. Recycling is slow, expensive, and far from perfect. Some parts get reused, but others end up in landfills, poisoning soil and polluting water. And that's not even the worst part. Mining new lithium burns through land, water, and money. It's dirty and wasteful. And as electric cars and solar power grow, the problem only worsens. We're racing into a battery-powered future, but a growing pile of toxic waste is dragging behind us. No one has had a real answer until now. Why batteries break down? So why do lithium batteries break down in the first place? It's not random, it's science. Inside every battery, lithium ions move back and forth between two sides. That's how energy flows. That's how your car drives or your phone charges. But over time, things stop working smoothly. Some lithium gets stuck, forming tiny clumps called dead lithium. Once that happens, those ions can't move anymore. That means less power, slower charging, and shorter battery life. There's more. Sharp needle-like structures called dendrites can grow inside the battery. They mess things up and sometimes even cause fires.
When you crush a lithium-ion battery, say in a device, it short circuits, and that short circuiting is what can drive a thermal event, aka fire.
On top of that, a layer builds up on the battery's surface. It blocks the flow of lithium even more. Fast charging and cold weather make it worse. After enough use, the battery gets tired and doesn't hold energy like it used to. Engineers have tried cooling systems, smarter software, and new materials, but nothing has stopped the breakdown. Everyone thought it was just part of the deal, a limit we couldn't cross. But that's what makes this discovery so incredible. It breaks the rules. Enter the AI hero. This is where things take a wild turn. Scientists had tried everything, new materials and designs, but nothing stopped batteries from dying until they introduced artificial intelligence. This is not just any AI. It is one of the most powerful systems on Earth. It was trained to study molecules, to understand how tiny particles behave inside a battery, something that would take humans thousands of years to figure out. The AI did in weeks. It scanned massive databases. It ran endless simulations. It didn't just look for solutions. It predicted them. And then it found something. A molecule so simple, so cheap, it almost seemed like a joke. This molecule had the power to unlock trapped lithium, to bring dead batteries back to life. This is no fancy tech, nor any expensive parts, just a tiny chemical compound that is hidden in plain sight. The AI named it lithium trifluoromethane sulfonate, LiSO2CF3. Scientists had never seen anything like it. It could mix with the battery's liquid. It didn't cause harm, it just worked. What the world thought was impossible, a machine figured that out in record time. And that's just the beginning. The breakthrough process. Here's where it gets really interesting. The molecule that AI discovered, LiSO2CF3, doesn't need any unique setup, no new factory, and no redesign of the battery. All it takes is one simple injection into the battery's electrolyte. That's the liquid inside, where the lithium ions move around. Once LiSO-CF is inside, it gets to work fast. It unlocks the stuck lithium, bringing the dead parts back to life. A small amount of gas is released during the process, but it's controlled and safe.
This is a commercial lithium iron phosphate battery. Typically, it would degrade and give out after being recharged and reused 2,000 times.
What's left behind is a battery that works again, sometimes even better than before. The early tests shocked everyone. Batteries that were supposed to die after a few hundred charges suddenly hit over 12,000 recharge cycles. That's more than a tenfold increase, the kind of jump no one thought was possible. The best part? This works on most lithium-ion batteries that already exist in the market. Whether they're used in electric cars or giant energy storage systems, LiSO2CF3 can be added without tearing anything apart. This is not a theory. It's not stuck in a lab. It's real. It works. With one chemical injection, a dead battery can live again. And with it, so can the dream of clean, cheap, long-lasting energy for everyone. Economic disruption. Think about what this means for your wallet. Replacing a battery in an electric car isn't cheap. It can cost thousands of dollars. And for many people, that's the biggest fear about switching to EVs. But with this discovery, that fear starts to fade. Instead of swapping out an entire battery pack, you could restore it. One injection, it's one cheap fix, and your car's battery gets a whole new life. That changes everything. Big companies spend billions building battery farms to store solar and wind energy. Over time, those batteries wear out. They're expensive to replace, but if you can double or even triple their lifespan, that's billions saved. It also means less demand for mining raw materials, less pressure on the global supply chain.
Our solution can achieve precise treatment so that a battery can be restored to its original state after being used.
Manufacturers might not be thrilled. After all, they make money selling new batteries. But for consumers, this is a win. For small businesses and large energy providers, this is huge. Suddenly, electric vehicles become even more affordable. Renewable energy becomes cheaper to store. This isn't just a scientific breakthrough. It's an economic one, a reset button for the entire battery industry. Environmental impact. Every year, mountains of used batteries pile up. Most still have power trapped inside, but they're tossed aside because they can't hold a full charge. Recycling helps, but it's slow, expensive, and messy. Some parts can't be reused, and others leak into the ground or water, poisoning the environment. Now imagine if we didn't have to throw them away. Imagine giving every battery a second life. That's what this breakthrough offers. If we can rejuvenate old batteries, we reduce waste by a massive amount. Less junk in landfills, less toxic leakage, and way less need for new mining. That's a win for nature, a win for the planet. Battery factories won't need to dig up as much lithium. That means fewer destroyed ecosystems and fewer carbon emissions from mining and shipping. And there's another side to it. Cleaner, longer-lasting batteries make solar and wind energy more reliable. They make clean power easier to store, even when the sun isn't shining or wind blowing. This isn't just good science, it's good for the Earth. Battery rejuvenation could be one of the biggest environmental wins of our time. Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you. Roadblocks and risks. As exciting as this breakthrough is, it's not a magic trick. There are still challenges ahead. Injecting a chemical into a battery sounds simple, but doing it safely and at scale is different. Not all lithium-ion batteries are the same. Some use other materials. Some are built in different ways. So we need more testing. We need to ensure this process works for all kinds of batteries, not just a few. There's also the issue of stability. When LiSO2CF3 is injected, it releases a small amount of gas. That has to be controlled. If too much pressure builds up, it could damage the battery, or worse, cause a safety hazard. Another concern is the long-term effect. What happens after 1 or 2 rejuvenation cycles? Will the battery still be safe? Will it still work well? Researchers are still figuring that out. Then, there's the business side. Some companies might fight this change. Longer-lasting batteries mean fewer replacements, which means less money for them. But here's the truth. Change is always hard. Every major invention faces pushback at first. What matters is what this technology can do. If it's made safe and reliable, it could radically change how we build, use, and save energy. The global energy revolution. Countries worldwide are pouring billions into clean energy. Giant battery farms are being built to store solar and wind power. But there's always been one big problem. Batteries don't last. Their power fades over time. Replacing them is costly, slows progress, and limits how far we can go with renewable energy. But this discovery changes that. Those massive storage systems will become much more affordable if we can double or even triple battery life. Energy from the sun and wind can be stored longer, used smarter, and cost less. This breakthrough could speed up the global shift from coal, oil, and gas. It gives developing countries a better chance to join the clean energy race. It makes energy more stable, less dependent on fossil fuels, and more secure for everyone. Battery rejuvenation isn't just a tool, it's a turning point, a push toward the energy future we've all been waiting for. The age of throwaway batteries might be ending. With one discovery, we've opened the door to a cleaner, smarter energy future. A world where power lasts longer, costs drop, waste disappears, and fossil fuels fade away. The question now isn't if this changes everything, it's when. And that future? It might be closer than we think.